With Storm Watch at the Weather Channel, we'll look at tonight's active stormy weather. One such spot is where a tornado warning is in effect for extreme northeast Dodge County and northern Olmsted County. Just a few minutes ago, spotters reported a funnel cloud that is presently near Pine Island. That's just about 15 miles to the northwest of Rochester, Minnesota. So again, very rough situation. We'll look at the active stormy weather and also talk tropics with our tropical update, which is a part of Storm Watch at 10 minutes till every hour on the Weather Channel. Let's have a look at Hurricane Blas. Things are fading fast here. Good news, right? Its current coordinates here, as you see, it's 17.7 north, 114.4 west. Currently, it's 450 miles southwest of Cabo San Lucas. Sustained winds now around 105. It's moving west around 12 miles an hour as well. You can see where it became classified as a tropical storm, represented by the first dot there. You kind of watch its progress it's made the last few days. It's kind of taking somewhat of a west-northwesterly track, and that should allow it to kind of wind down a bit. It's kind of running into a bit of some problems, not able to hold it together to maintain its intensity, so it is falling off. But as it moves on, maybe the next 2 days, it's going to kind of fall below hurricane strength. If it should take more of a northerly jag to its path, that would actually help to even weaken it a bit faster, given the current situation there. Look at it right there. Things are starting to kind of fade in it a bit. You can still see the center of circulation. You can also see where some of the oranges and yellows remain. A bit of warming is happening in some of the higher cloud tops, so it's not as convective. The convection, the big storminess, it's not as much of an active storm as it once was. Still lots of rain here, but it's starting to die down a bit. The one thing it is still doing, though, is really kicking up the waves along the Mexico coast. So if you were planning vacations, you may have to endure a little action from the waves, kicking up a little bit extra. You can see, though, the convection or the bubbling, stormy nature kind of decreasing a bit. See, kind of winding up a bit. That trend will continue as it starts to move on to a spot where it's not expected to stay around a lot longer and should fall below hurricane strength over the next couple of days, given present indications. A little wet in parts of Mexico presently, and even toward the Gulf of Mexico. A little action to look at as well, including some unsettled weather. We, of course, have been talking about a disturbance that we had to keep a real close eye on as far as observing it in the Gulf of Mexico in case it had posed a real major threat as far as intensification has gone. Was not really the proper upper-level situation to allow it to really kind of grow and enhance. So what has happened is just tropical moisture is being transported along the Gulf Coast. That can mean problem enough, though, right around the Big Easy. We may get some additional wet weather. Some spots, too, where you see some little yellow shading there, you got to follow that. We're talking well over 3 inches. And bear in mind, this is a Doppler radar estimate, not showing current rain, but kind of giving an estimate of a rain that has fallen. And with Doppler radar, one of the things that it will do, though, is kind of at times underestimate the amount of precipitation you see from a tropical scenario, a tropical system. So this moisture may actually be, we're showing maybe 3 inches, may actually be seeing quite a bit more than that. In the Gulf of Mexico, that is actually a pretty active spot often in June, or not necessarily pretty active, but if we do see action, it's here. The upper-level winds not really favorable for systems to make the long trek from Cape Verde across. So we often will see a system that has been over land, a pre-existing spin. One of the things we need for a tropical system to really begin as far as a tropical cyclone situation moves out. After a water level of a temperature of a sufficient level, around 80 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer, and also proper upper-level conditions. So often, it's climatologically favored to see them begin in these regions, as you see. I mentioned across the Atlantic, not much happening, and yeah, there's really not a lot here. It was a little bit of a wave, but encountered some resistance, kind of being ripped up or sheared, so not going to make the trek. Looks like another wave about to make an exit here. Another one is just exiting here, coming along off Africa, Cape Verde. But again, the upper-level winds won't allow it to really make that long trip across the ocean. Water vapor image now shows the brighter white spots there, showing where the best moisture or the best supply of water vapor is moving along with a lot of wet systems, including the hurricane that's still kicking across the Pacific. Upper-level winds, we mentioned, not a real favorable spot to keep things churning. And this upper-level area of low pressure actually helped to kind of prevent any kind of intensification from this disturbance as it moved toward shore. I mentioned that, well, we're seeing not a real active time. June, July, kind of off to a slow start. Hurricanes over 100 years usually kind of see a peak in the action around September 10th. It could be an active tropical season, so stay tuned to the Weather Channel to stay on top of that. Again, we cover the two main things there, tropical moisture.